it's one thing not to trust me to do the fire alarm things, but Jesse's always going to do, and I was going to do the photo as well, so that's my going to open it. Oh my God, this is absolutely fantastic. We've been, since autumn 2019, at NEA, we've been bemoaning the inability to get people together in a room. So this is the greatest site that I've seen in the past 3 or so years. So thank you so much for coming. It's hear me doing an opening address. It's probably not going to be that. I'm just going to do some welcoming and some introductory comments, if that's okay. We've got Lord Callanan on video later on, which is absolutely fantastic. He's been a great supporter of NEA conferences, and even though he can't be here, we're ever so grateful for him to be able to join us virtually. The context for us isn't just that we haven't been able to have the NEA annual conference for 3 years, even though it's in our blood and in our DNA. The immediate context for us all coming together, of course, is on the news, polar vortex coming last week, excess winter deaths, so that 45 people every day died last winter directly from the effect of a cold home, and that's the second best figures, most benign figures since the 1950s, even though deaths outside of winter months were high. We know what this winter and next winter is going to be like. So the immediate context, of course, is chilling, literally. Since 2019, you don't need me to say what the context is. Energy prices doubling in spite of billions of pounds of investment, subsidy of energy prices, negative budgets, stagnant incomes, falling incomes, hardship, privation, ill health, and despair. We all know what a crisis is now. Crisis isn't a problem to be tackled. It's not an issue to be overcome. It's an existential moment when people's way forward, their ability to cope, their coping mechanisms entirely fail. That's what a crisis is, and we've seen that really writ large over the past years, and we know it's not going to end anytime soon. The context, of course, is also the astonishing response, incredible response. Organizations and people in this hall, up and down the country, the teams at NEA, teams across the country, urgent, beyond what could be expected. Every mile pushed to try and support people with insufficient tools and mechanisms to help people find a way through the crisis. And that urgency and that mobilization of resources, local and national, from the sector, from charities, from local authorities, is something that we have to keep a grip of, and I'm hoping that's some of what we get out of the conference. The prospects ain't good. So prices are high now. We know the combination of the next price cap rise in April, the loosening of the less generosity in the price guarantee from government, the sunsetting of the energy bill support schemes, a whole bunch of other issues means that April is going to be tough. Even though it's not the winter months, the impact on people's budgets ain't going away and could get even tougher. On the plus side, we have things like Eco Plus coming into being. We have the noise around the reduction of the commodity cost of gas below the start of the Ukrainian war levels, with the prospect of some smoothing out of costs over the coming years. We've got the noise around action on prepayment meters and social tariffs, so it's not right to say that nothing is going in the right direction, but on balance, we're going to come into a period that's every bit as tough as we are now, and possibly even tougher. For NEA, for lots of organizations here, that means thousands more people supported, millions more put into people's pockets through things like benefit entitlement, income maximization, emergency credit going out, and we're all sharing in that, and that's not going to get any easier anytime soon. And that's the context and the prospect in which we meet today for this conference. Said it before and I'll say it again. This is so deep in the DNA of NEA. Everything we do is in partnership. We rely for our advocacy and our campaigning work on the real life experiences of people and organisations in this hall and beyond. We don't want to pontificate. We want to be able to have evidence-based constructive interventions that show a way forward that is of the benefit to the most vulnerable people, especially those in fuel poverty. We can only do that by drawing upon the experiences and the insight of people in this room and beyond. Today, for the agenda, we're looking at frontline voices. We're looking at what government's done, what more they should be doing. We're looking at the next agenda for vulnerable consumers in the market and the impact of ill health and cold homes. So we're touching hopefully on the key issues that are important to understand what we can do to move forward with the agenda of tackling fuel poverty. I want to thank so many people. I need to start, though, by thanking not just the people at NEA putting on the conference, but everyone at NEA who over the past years show dedication and commitment and passion for the work they do, driven always by the measurable impact on people's lives, the willingness to go the extra mile, the willingness to try and help people out in whatever circumstances, the willingness to take on the most difficult cases they can find. That's been exemplified across all the teams at NEA, and so my thanks to them cannot be put into words and it cannot be estimated, but I need to say. I need to thank also the supporters and members, especially the exhibitors here at NEA, for their engagement, with the support for us and what we do, and also for their ability to take some of the things that we suggest and put them into practice. The key one, though, of course, is for everybody who's playing their part in trying to support vulnerable fuel-poor households over the crisis, and hopefully you'll all be able to stay for before lunch on Wednesday when we'll be acknowledging and recognising some of those people. We all know the champions in our own organisations and our own local communities, without whom that structure of support would not be anywhere near as effective as it is. So that's hugely important that we recognise them. I started out coming into the conference. First of all, I didn't think it was going to happen. I assumed some act of God would wash this conference away as it has done for the rest. And while there's still time for an act of God, we've started. So my first objective is met. We are here, we are in a room. And never listen to what Elvis Presley tells you. As someone reminded me yesterday, we want a little more conversation. We want a little more dialogue and discussion. Not everything should be broadcast. You shouldn't always have to intervene for your 2 minutes of fame on a Zoom call. The serendipity, the opportunity to have conversations and to carry them forward is inestimable, and we should take great advantage of it. One of the reasons why we were so keen to have the conference on. So that's my first one, objective met. Straightforward one, I had nothing to do with meeting it. The second, and it goes to the point of the first panel that we're going to have, is that the metric that matters, the measure that we should hold higher than any other, is the material improvement of people's lives, and how we can assess policy interventions, design of programs, regulatory changes by the impact they have on those people who are most vulnerable, most exposed to high energy costs. The last one would be that we carry some of the urgency and the passion that's been shown through this really most intense part of the crisis, which we all hope will abate at some stage, but we carry that mobilization and urgency and focus and determination and passion, and we take it forward to all the other aspects that we know are necessary to consign fuel poverty to the dustbin to achieve our mission, which is that everybody should be able to afford to keep their homes warm and safe through government policy, through best practice from industry, through regulatory provision, through energy efficiency, through aligning net zero and fuel poverty objectives. That is the big hope that us, not as NEA as an organisation, but everybody here as a movement, as a shared mission, should have. And if this conference plays a little part in making that more likely than not, then it will be absolutely worthwhile. So that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you so much for being here. I'll make sure that Jess shares that picture. There'll be lots of pictures of people at this podium and on those panels. This is the one that matters for us. This is the one that we've wanted so much to see. I'm quite pleased that it's quite a tight room, because it just shows the mass and the engagement of people here. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you have a really productive and sociable time at the conference. That sociability is not trivial. It's really, really important. And now, if we can, we'll go through to the video address from Lord Callanan.
Well, good morning, everyone. And firstly, my apologies that I can't join you in person today for your conference. And today provides an opportunity to reflect on the year that we've had. And of course, there's no denying that it has been an extremely difficult one. Putin's barbaric invasion of Ukraine has driven down energy supplies and, of course, driven up energy bills. And this winter, none of us are turning up the thermostat without first having a look at the meter, hopefully a smart meter. In these circumstances, the work of the NEA and others to tackle fuel poverty has never been more important. And I know that recent months haven't just taken a toll on the poorest among us, but on those who support them too. So I'd like to begin by just saying thank you for all that you do, and I would like to reassure you too that this government shares your commitment to do all that we can to keep homes warm and to keep households healthy. This winter we've been taking urgent action to support households with the Energy Bills Support Scheme and the Energy Price Guarantee, together saving a typical British household over £1,000 between last October and this March. And this forms part of an overall package of cost of living support worth £37 billion over the same period, with targeted support, of course, for the most vulnerable. We're delivering additional funding for households in Northern Ireland as well, and an extension to the Energy Bills Support Scheme for households without a direct relationship with an energy supplier across the UK. This is an unprecedented sum, matched only, of course, by the gravity of the situation that we face. And that isn't all. We've also launched our £18 million It All Adds Up energy saving campaign. I hope you've seen some of the adverts, to help to spread the word and to ensure that households understand the small and simple steps that we can all take to help themselves. But we know that it cannot be just about getting through this winter. It's important that we start preparing for next winter as well, and the winter after that. We've already committed to providing £26 billion of cost of living support between 2023 and 2024, support which will make an extraordinary difference to communities across the country. And we will continue the warm home discount. We know it works. It's provided over £3.3 billion in direct assistance to date. It's successfully supported millions to get by in the coldest months of the year. That is why we expanded it this winter, enabling us to support even more people than ever before. But most importantly, of course, we're also investing in energy efficiency. When our buildings leak heat, our pockets leak cash, as well as increased energy consumption drives up bills and carbon emissions, of course also putting pressure on private and public finances. It leads to underheating as well, with a terrible impact on the physical and the mental health of those unable to keep their homes warm. That's why this government is serious about energy efficiency, because we know that is the most effective way to tackle fuel poverty in the longer term. We have set ourselves a very ambitious goal to ensure that as many fuel-poor homes as is reasonably practicable achieve a minimum energy efficiency rating of Band C by 2030. And these aren't just empty words, it's about action. To get there, we're investing over £6.6 billion over this Parliament to help decarbonise homes and buildings, and we've already committed £6 billion over the next. In England, that includes £3.8 billion for the Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund to improve the energy performance of social rented homes, and almost £1 billion for the Home Upgrade Grant, which provides local authorities with vital support for improving the energy performance and the heating systems of off-grid homes. All of this comes on top of the sterling support available through the ECO scheme, and I'm delighted that we are now well underway in commencing the delivery of ECO 4. This 4-year, £4 billion extension and expansion of the scheme, which we announced in 2021, will enable us to bring the benefits to hundreds of thousands of more homes, strengthening once again our fight against fuel poverty. Delivering one of these schemes would be an enormous endeavour. Together, of course, they represent a mammoth tasks, and so it should be. The scale and urgency of the task means that we can't afford to be anything other than ambitious. To succeed, though, we will all need to work together. Reflecting on the year we've just had, I emphasised earlier just how much the work of agencies and advocates on the front line really matters. Listening to your expertise, your experience, and acting on it has been absolutely critical for us getting it right. And in the year to come, it's clear that your role will be no different. So allow me to thank you once again for all that you've done. This conference provides a vital opportunity to tackle the most significant challenges which government and industry face, both today and tomorrow and the days after that. And I have every confidence that this year's conference will be just as productive as the previous years. Close collaboration has never been more important, and we're really looking forward to the opportunity to engage with all of you. So I wish you the best of luck for this year's conference. I look forward to working together in the coming months and years to deliver for those most in need. Thank you.
So, thank you to Lord Callanan. I know Ben Golding from Bays is in. He'll take our thanks to Lord Callanan. We'll do it directly. I just wanted to say one thing before we draw the first panel up, which is I am dead on time. The agenda is dead on time. It's the one and only time I'm able to say that. I'm stretching this out, so it's exactly, no, I can't even do that. So look, that's a great start. The conference is now well and truly open, so if you can invite the first kind of panel up to the stage and Danny to the platform, have a lovely time.